Hey guys, welcome back to another spectacular video. If you are a regular reader of the news, you'd be well aware that the next movie on Elon Musk's list to bring to life is Ridley Scott's The Martian. With his constant rants and enthusiasm on his Mars missions, we are often left to wonder if what he states will ever happen within the impractical time span he has set for colonization of Mars by us humans. I bet we got you hooked as soon as we said colonization. Watch further ahead to find out the deets of Elon's plans to Mars and how he aims to make this work in progress a reality by 2050. Elon is known for his insane discoveries, covering major strides finding solutions to make this world a better place. One of the futuristic problems Earth is moving towards at a fast pace is overpopulation. Elon is one step ahead in thinking about this scenario, resulting in him coming up with a solution of inhabitation of another planet to solve this predicament. How clever a plan was that? Is this even possible? The word impossible does not exist in Musk's directory. Elon's plans to send people to Mars started in 2016. Though the official construction of the prototype began in 2018, he has even stated confidently that by 2022, ships carrying cargo would be sent to Mars, followed by humans being sent to the Red Planet in 2026. We wonder who the first lucky few passengers aboard the rocket shall be. While studying about the solar system in primary school, we may assume Mars to be pretty close to Earth, as they seem to be as close as to us as our next door neighbor. But in fact, the planet is said to be approximately 100 million miles away from Earth. Now that's quite a long journey. How does it take to reach Mars from Earth? Now, it has been estimated to take a rocket 6 to 8 months to reach Mars, which again is dependent on the position of the planet in their respective orbits. So how are we going to reach planet Mars is a big question on everyone's mind. Elon has been working with SpaceX to make migration to Mars a reality. The main mode of transportation that would be used is the Starship, which is a rocket ship that is going to carry both cargoes with supplies as well as humans to the planet. What is so special about the Starship? Starship isn't like any other regular rockets that are used by NASA to travel to the ISS. Starship will consist of two components, one being a super heavy booster and the second being the main body of the Starship. What makes this unique is its reusable feature, reducing costs as well as would prevent space pollution. Any guesses on the dimensions of this space beauty? The height of this magnificent vessel is expected to be a magnificent 122 meters with a massive weight of 150 tons. These dimensions have landed the Starship to be the biggest rocket ship to be built. Imagine how Minute One would feel standing next to such a majestic beast. Still confused about how huge Starship is? Imagine 67 Toyota Corollas piled up on one on top of another. That's how much capacity this rocket can hold. But how will the rocket function? As mentioned earlier, the carrier has two parts. The former part, which is at the base, will return back to Earth very similar to how Falcon 9 functions, while the top half continues its journey towards Mars. All is well and all is good while building the rocket. But what fuel mechanism would the rocket be using? Wondering what the biggest complication about the Mars mission is? It's fueling. Unfortunately, every time Elon solves one fueling issue, another one seems to come up. This first issue that had to be solved included breaking the Earth's gravity field. This was quite brain-wrecking to undertake. Only after several test trials and calculations did they realize another issue, which entailed exhausting Starship's fuel just by escaping gravity. But soon a solution was derived for this. To solve this, another rocket would be sent consequently to attach itself to help in meeting its refueling needs. You'd be quite intrigued to know that the shape of the orbit of Earth and Mars are not at all the same. In actuality, the distance between Earth and Mars is constantly changing, resulting in further complications to this rocket mission. Sadly to say, the eccentric orbit of Mars causes the Earth to either be at a large distance of 250 miles apart. It's only once in 26 months that the Earth and Mars are the closest to each other and ever at a distance at 33.9 million miles. The logical step for SpaceX to take would be to make sure they send their rockets within these transfer windows. Fueling seems to be a constant battle this mission seems to be facing. Even after traveling the journey to Mars, the fuel is bound to exhaust itself entirely. This would result in no fuel present to return back home. But Elon is one who never runs out of a solution. He has decided that the first set of settlers who would be sent to Mars would be establishing fuel centers at the base. But would the fuel be sent from Earth or not? Sending fuel from Earth would result in time and resource being wasted, resulting in many of them being stranded on Mars. Hence, to take caution and prevent this from happening, the fuel for these rockets would be produced on Mars itself. Yes, you heard that right. We'll be having the first factory on Mars as a fuel production unit. Now, how will the fuel be produced when there are no fossil fuels around Mars? Deep cryomethalox is a fuel that would be used in Starship. For the ones who are befuddled by the chemical composition, in simple terms, the fuel will be made of methane and liquid oxygen. But how will oxygen and methane be found on Mars? A few years ago, the mission to Mars found evidence of the existence of snow-capped mountains on Mars. Water could be derived from the ice present on Mars, while methane could be derived from the carbon dioxide-filled atmosphere of Mars. All seems quite easy to undertake when said in words, but the practicality of the scenario is quite different, as the 1,200-ton fuel tank of the rocket ship will require energy equivalent to nothing less than 16 gigawatt-hours of energy. With that being said, Musk's goal to inhabit Mars with 1 million of humans by 2050 seemed to be quite unachievable. Why is that? Watch further to know the reason why this doesn't seem to make any practical sense. Musk in a tweet had stated that 2050 is his D-year for launching 1 million of us to humans on Mars. According to sources, the first mission is to take place in 2026. If you look into the numbers of the transfer windows that will arise between 2026 and 2050, the number is just a mere 12. And yes, Musk is not ignorant to launch just one rocket at a time between each transfer window. He has stated to send thousands of rockets each launch. Each rocket is said to carry 100 passengers, and all the vehicles would move as an army rather than in individual rocket ships towards Mars. The number of rockets to be produced for refueling would further increase the number of rockets needed. But what will the travelers survive on? Cargo missions with supplies will be sent along with the travelers in different rockets. There would be 10 rockets carrying cargo supplies for each rocket carrying human. If the math hasn't driven you crazy yet, the total number of Starship trips is 100,000 approximately. So breaking down that calculation, even if we produce 2 Starships per week, only 3,000 Starships could be produced by 2050. This will not be sufficient enough to transport 1 million people along with supplies. The issues don't end here. Funding is the next major problem trailing behind fueling. Looking at the statistics, such a project practically can't be funded as the cost would just not run in billions but in trillions. Is the possibility of 1 million of humans inhabiting Mars possible? Yes, it's definitely possible. But is this possible to be accomplished by the 2050 deadline set by Elon Musk? Even though Elon may believe it, with the calculations we have just run up, there's something hard to believe. But Elon is a man to set his goals and aspirations quite high, following the mantra of aiming for the sky when one wants to reach the trees. This goal is probably one which lies in his over-the-top goal-setting list, but this trait seems to be taking him places. We all hope to see the year we get to experience traveling and living on Mars. But that year is not 2050, y'all. Let us give the video and our brains some rest and conclude this video with you smashing the thumbs up to support us and subscribe our channel to get such great content in the future. See you next time.